Hello, I wanted to do a little bit of a different type of video today. I didn't really feel like filming a whole lot last week, so I kind of came up with a different idea of just like talking about my kind of journey in swimming, because I think it's maybe kind of atypical to hear. So when I was 4 years old, I almost drowned in my neighbor's pool. I had been sitting near the pool, and my mom had told me to not go in, but one of the neighbor's kids convinced me to come into the pool. I did not know how to swim at 4 years old, and I almost drowned, and I am very, very lucky that my mom was paying attention, and she was able to grab me before anything bad really happened. So after that happened, I was signed up for swim lessons, and I had a lot of really intense anxiety around swim lessons as a young kid. I would be like nauseous on the way to class, pretty much consistently when I was like 5 years old. So that was super challenging, and I was super lucky that like the teacher that I had, their style just kind of meshed well with it. So I was able to learn how to swim. I was in a Learn to Swim program at my local YMCA from age like 5 up to, I ended up continuing with it past like their highest level. So I swam like in a sort of like Learn to Swim program from like 5 to I'd say like 8 or 9. And then I transitioned to like a pre-comp team, and then later on like a comp team. I don't want to say I loved swimming growing up. It was just one of those things that like I kind of always did. Like I enjoyed it for the social aspect as a kid, and I think that that's really important, because it is more or less, you know, social, and it should be about like having fun and spending time with like other kids and just like enjoying being in the water as a kid. So I had a lot of fun doing that. When I was a freshman in high school, I got a letter from US Paralympic Swimming, and it told me that there were opportunities for athletes like myself with a disability in Paralympic swimming, and it gave me some ways to get involved. I have the letter taped up in my room to this day because it changed my life. It completely changed the entire course of my life, and I ended up getting involved with an adaptive team in my area, and I went on to swim competitively at some of the highest levels of competition over the next couple of years, from like 15 to I swam up until I was 20. At 20 years old, I missed making the Tokyo 2021 Paralympics by 2 seconds in the 100-meter butterfly, and I was crushed. And there were a lot of other things going on in my life at that time. And there were maybe some like issues with like coaching and stuff like that. And so the next handful of years were really, really challenging. I didn't swim super consistently, and I went to a handful of competitions, but I felt like my heart maybe wasn't in it, and I considered retiring. In September of 2023, they announced the Parapan American team going to Santiago, Chile, and I got named to the team. I hadn't been swimming consistently. Like, maybe I'd been swimming like once or twice a week for the last like 6 months before I got named to this team. And I was like excited, but like the panic set in. And so I ended up training really, really hard for this competition. I come in 6th at Parapan in the 100-meter butterfly. And it just kind of like reignited the spark. And I found like a good masters team to swim with in my area. I don't know, I kind of found my way back to it, and I don't know that I would ever want to do it differently, despite like all the hardships that I went through and everything, because it brought me back to swimming, and I think I needed that space away to figure out like who I was like outside of swimming. And so it was wonderful. Kind of as all of this was happening, I became a swim instructor, and I worked as a swim instructor for about a year when I was 21, and I was getting kind of like, I don't want to say frustrated, but I was looking to kind of do something that felt a little more impactful to me. And so I became an adaptive swim instructor, working with children with all types of disabilities, differences, anxiety, stuff like that. And it felt really full circle as somebody who's not only like a disabled swimmer, but a very anxious swimmer as well. So it felt really full circle, I guess, to be able to do that after like having experienced that as like a younger kid. So it's been really wonderful. I don't know that I ever thought maybe that I'd be shooting for 2028 LA, but I'm here. I'm willing to give it a shot. As long as it's fun, I'm going to keep doing it. And that's just one of those things that I want to emphasize. Like, it should be fun. If you're not having fun doing it, then like, is your heart in the right place? Could you be doing something where your heart is in the right place and you're like actually excited about it? And so it's been really wonderful to kind of come back to swimming and have this like really positive relationship with it, and then to add rock climbing in, which was a total wild card. And I will talk about how I got involved in rock climbing in a later video. But I'm in a place where like it feels very genuine, and like I feel really settled into what I'm doing and tuned in and happy. And that's something that I hadn't really experienced in my earlier career in swimming. And when I came back to swimming, one of my goals was to do it in a way that felt healthy and like felt good for me. Because I didn't feel like I had that maybe at earlier times in my career. And so, you know, for me, it's all about just having fun and like sharing this love of swimming with other people. So it has been a journey. It's going to continue to be a journey, and I'd love it if you would like to join me on it. So feel free to like and subscribe, share with anybody. This is just kind of my story about how I went from almost drowning at 4 years old to a international competitor in swimming. So I think maybe it's not the traditional path. I feel like I always hear other swimmers say that they like love swimming from a young age, and that just wasn't maybe quite my experience. But you know, it's still valid, and I think that it's helpful to realize that like even if it's tough right now, you can grow into loving it. So I will see you soon. Bye.